Bible Talk Wednesday.
Have watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
This is Bible Talk. With your host, Leader the Only One.
Your first loser.
I am closer to be better, to be the best, okay? So cut me some slack.
John Sfumbly.
Boba Fett. Attack mode.
Yep, I see that.
Attack mode.
Yep,
Attack mode.
yep.
I'm in attack mode right now.
Adrian A.I. Indelos.
I'm a man. I fix things. Cook barbecue and fix things.
This is Bible Talk.
Don't you love the intro, man? This is such a good intro. And it's a great hype type of intro. Beautiful made. Exciting.
And it
high
won't get
vibe.
any better than that. That's as best as it's gonna be.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, you can be good, but you can always be better. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like that might be like up there for one of the
It's
best
up
things I've
there.
ever created.
Top tens out there.
Oh,
Dun-dun-dun,
top three.
dun-dun-dun.
Top three, probably.
Well, welcome, fam. Welcome. We're back. We're back. It's been a couple weeks. We missed it. We are back. Shout out to our boy John, who's putting some serious work to be here today. Who's getting out of a sickness. The week before that was Adrian. I think that was no. Were you sick, Adrian? You were sick recently, for sure. Maybe like a month ago or so, if I remember correctly.
It all blends.
It all
together.
blends. Time
Yeah,
just goes by so fast.
What is time?
What is time, man? Listen, God lives outside of the boundaries of the physical and all the laws that are.
Oh no!
here, right?
Last week was when Mallory and I played our first doubles
yes.
match together.
Yes.
So,
Oh, so cute.
yeah, that was really cute. And then the
So
previous
cute.
week was Leader's fault because he wanted to go watch some K-pop.
Blackpink. That's right. That's right. Adrian with a
So-
stellar memory, man.
So
That's
yeah,
what
well,
I'm-
no, this is my
Context.
this is my recap for the episode because I don't
Nice.
remember what we're actually reading about. So
I do remember.
I can just
It's okay. We're in good hands. Well, welcome, fam. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is Bible Talk, fam, and I'm your host, literally the only one, and we're just here to get together on a beautiful Wednesday night before it gets really cold in here in Texas. I don't know how it's over there in Florida, sir, but in here we got 2 days left of 75 degrees, and then what could he do? Saturday is gonna be 45 at the high. And the rest of the week is gonna be chilly, so we're excited about that. Finally, the heat's gone. And anyway, so we're out here, and I am with my two good friends getting ready to do this show. First and foremost, in the middle today, the co-star of the show, Mr. Adrian.
I am in the middle today.
You're
Wow.
in the middle today. Now,
I'm not used to I'm not used to this.
having said that, now you gone.
Okay.
It only lasts so long. No, just kidding. You deserve all the
okay,
attention
okay.
today. You deserve all the attention today. It's okay.
No,
How are you doing, my man? How are you?
I'm good, dude.
Good?
I'm good. I'm
Okay.
great.
Good.
How
good,
are
good.
you?
Well, very good, man. I'm happy to be here. Happy to see y'all again. The duo of the show, my one and only John Sfumbly, who is sick today, so we're gonna keep him quiet for most of the show. It's
I would
gonna
love
go
that.
Pretty
I was
fake.
a little bit sick the last 2 days, but
Bro, you've been sick since last week. Because on
Yeah.
Friday we played and you were like, I'm sick, bro, and you sounded sick. So
That's
you've
true.
been this has been hitting you a little bit there. But
it wasn't bad then because I was still like interested in doing things like playing video games.
you
and
didn't play
eating,
anything at all the last 3 days.
existing.
I mean, I've been here and you haven't been at all. You've been probably sleeping, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
me and my wife slept for like 24 hours straight.
Yeah, and it sucks that the both of you all got sick at the same
Yeah.
time. Ugh.
Yep, and that was the worst
Yeah.
because normally, I mean, you know how it is. Like
Yeah, one can
you
help
get
the
sick
other, or
and your wife
something.
can take care of you, right? Your
And-
wife gets
and
sick and you take care of her.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
both
yeah.
of you getting sick at the same time is like, oh,
I was like,
I
go
mean,
give me
it's
some
fine.
water. Who? Me? No, listen to
Yeah.
cats.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, are the
Well-
cats sick? Make them get you medicine and stuff.
No, but they had the gall of making me clean their litter today. So
Ugh.
because it
Ooh.
went
Gross.
it went like 3 days too long without being changed.
Oh, yikes.
So it was like, I almost died. It was
Damn.
terrible.
Welcome everybody to the show. Yes, this is the way that we are. Sorry. but welcome. We still love you, even though you don't. You might not. Some of you might. Most of you might not, but this is who we are. So hey, beat it. It's okay. We're here. So anyway, guys, let me tell you what this is. All that we do is the three of us get together. We open out the Bible, and for the first time ever, we're going verse by verse, which has been pretty cool. In the book of Colossians, and we're in chapter 1 still, verse 16. And it's been a good trip of understanding the word a little bit better. And so anyway, what we do is we just read some, we chat about it, we answer your questions, we go back and forth with it. And then we just share it, man, just because we believe that this is really cool. It's important to the three of us. The Bible plays a huge role in our lives, plays a huge role in how we live, how we do things, how we, decisions that we make, and so on and so forth. And then we just want to share with you. It doesn't matter what you are, it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter what you believe in. If you're here, we're just sharing it with you, and that's all it is. Having said that, this is one place that we're a little bit careful with what we say and stuff, because it can get controversial out there. There's been some episodes where some of you all have really good questions. However, they might be a little over the line, and we've been shadow banned before, and that was not fun on Facebook. And so we're just careful with what we answer. However, having said that, the Discord is where everything happens, where you can just join in and talk to us, and we can answer all those kind of questions that you may have. We can argue with you. That's John's job. We can pray for you. That's Travis' job. I am there for no reason at all. And you can find a new best friend in Adrian.
Well, someone has to pay the bills, so
there you go. I pay the bills. Adrian will become your best friend. John will argue with you, and Travis will pray for you. That's how the Discord works. So feel free to join there. Anyway, having said that, we're going to start the episode. But before we do that, we always go through some good news, because, we live in a world where there's none of that anymore. It seems like we always talk about bad things, and we don't want to do that. We want to focus on the good. The Lord says, if there's something good, you should think about those things. So I don't know. I'll start, I guess. Good news. Rankings came out for tennis for me last Wednesday, and for the first time in my life, I am number 1 in Texas, number 4 in the nation.
Woo!
Thank you. All the glory be to God. He's the one who allowed me to be healthy, to put the will on fighting every single match, every single point. I played a total of 9 tournaments this year, won 7, and got 2 finals. So that's pretty good for point wise. I think, I don't want to spoil it or anything, but I think I'm qualified to go to nationals. Never done that before. That's going to be a first time. Nationals this year in San Diego, out of all places. God bless that place a little extra. And then people went there and crapped it out, but still beautiful. So I don't mind going there to play. And I'll be excited for that. Anyway, so those are my good news. God is good. Tennis is good.
I have an important question.
Oh yeah, shoot, go for it.
So when do we get to see you go on to TV playing tennis against that old funny guy that messes around with people the whole time?
The guy that yells all the time.
Yeah,
his name is John McEnroe.
No, he's talking about like the old Italian guy.
Yes,
that's always like messing
where he
around.
Like hits balls with his hands and like throws extra balls.
He's super good with the mustache. He's
yeah.
Man. He's not Italian. He's Indian or Middle Eastern or something. He's so nice. He's amazing. All trick shots and stuff, and always really good energy. I mean, I would love to play him, but I'll tell you one thing: he'll beat my butt probably. He's pretty good. So yeah. Probably can hang in there, but no. No TV for me. I think it's just I don't know how nationals is. No, not yet.
You'll probably see Leader on TV on pickleball before you see him on
I don't know. Pickle's been fun too today, man. I'm enjoying pickleball, so I don't know. Good question, though. Good question. All right, Adrian, shoot me with some good news. What you got, bro?
I got two bits of good news. One is kind of bigger good news than the other, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I took my doubles partner and my wife to go see the WTA, which is the Women's Tennis Association. They had their big end of year tournament. It just so happens to be in Fort Worth, and very excited to watch the top 8 women's pro players duke it out on the tennis court. This past week, and on Sunday, that was the only time that I was able to go, and first time seeing that level of play, and and it's first time that both my doubles partner and my wife got to see, pro players, going at it, and so
Oh,
they were
that's
just like,
cool.
whoa, they were just kind of like eyes glazed over, like, wow, like there's no way we could ever be like this good ever, like, and so
Mhm.
it was just really fun to watch. And the second bit of good news is that I quit my day job, and that was actually
Ooh.
a good thing, because apparently me sacrificing my body and my mental health wasn't good enough for my family. And my wife called me out on it, and she says, "What's the point of working hard for this lifestyle if you aren't around to enjoy it?" So I was like, "All right, like you're right." So quit my day job, and actually I'm in better health and in better spirits because of it. And so like I'm back to full time running the business, and I couldn't be more excited. So
Ah, man, that's glad to hear. I think
yeah,
it's good that your business is such a good business, anyways, and you help so many people out. That's pretty cool. Glad that you're doing
I try
that.
to.
Welcome back, man. Welcome back. Okay, John. I mean, you're sick, but shoot, man. Do you have anything good happening around? You're not
Um,
dead. That's good.
it's
Well,
good.
he's
It
got a
it
baby
it could
coming.
also be construed as a prayer request, I guess. So it
Okay.
probably isn't appropriate for now. But
Okay.
so I went to the chiropractor the other day.
Oh boy.
And the chiropractor was like, "Listen, you have the strongest back I've ever seen. Okay, but it is
What?
full of knots. Okay, because my core is
Oh.
awesome, right? But it's just full of knots. Okay."
Okay.
And she's
Okay.
like, "So what are you doing?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "Well, 4 to 5 days out of the week, 3 to 4 grown men will get on my back and
Mhm.
I'll carry them." And she's like, "What are you talking about? Like at the gym?" And I was like, "Well, no, I tend to carry Leader and Apex and League and a couple other things." So
That's great. That was an outstanding setup. That was freaking awesome. And John's dead. And John's dead. We lost Leader. John's dying. Welcome everyone to the AI Bible Talk, episode 32.
killed him.
Oh my god.
You know,
Freaking slow clap.
you
John's
know,
Fumbly, ladies and gentlemen.
That was
I
in the
was
demo. I heard that
so
somewhere and I adapted
invested into this story. It's like that, man.
Oh my
Get out
God.
of here, John.
That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
Adrian, you can't join on that. You're
No, like
you're-
I'm not joining. I'm driving that bandwagon.
you suck.
I'm Team John tonight.
For the first time ever, hashtag Team John.
My first fan, first team member.
Oh
I think my
God.
wife's actually on Team AI as well. Just fun fact.
Not today. Not today.
Not today, yeah.
I was like, yeah, of course he's got the funeral home. Definitely, he's he does some
Yeah,
heavy
it's a physically
lifting.
demanding job. I thought I was like, oh,
Man, he's talking about man. Absolutely, I can see that happening probably the most. And this story is gonna,
But
then
see,
he's gonna
when you
talk
were
about the
like 3 to
cracking.
4 grown men, I'm like, are you carrying more than one casket at a time?
Yeah.
like, are you just that strong?
You'll never know.
Oh my God. Okay, John. Well,
That
shoot.
was
I
good
even kind of that threw my game off for this for this episode a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Episode's done.
Done.
Y'all have a
Mike-
good night.
Mike-
We'll
Mike
see you
drop.
next week.
We love you
God
guys.
has been here. That
Bye.
was enough. His presence was shown.
Oh my god, I haven't laughed like this in a while.
Man, maybe I should start writing comedy content and like do a show.
Oh, my cheeks hurt.
Dude, I love John Chris, man. He's a good comedian. Speaking of comedian, I think
He
he's
is.
so funny. I just finished reading his book with my wife. So
Yeah.
much good stuff in there, man. I didn't know he struggles so much with anxiety and depression as Christian, and he doesn't know how to date people. I mean, like he opens up so wide open. I'm like, you are so brave, but just putting it out there as like your story. So it's a great book. I don't even know what it's called. But
He's like
me
the
and
first. Sorry,
no, go for it.
he's like
While
the
I
first
look for it.
Christian comedian that wasn't like cringy.
Yeah, I think he's genuine. He's fun. Delete that. What a great title too for a book. Um, wait, delete that.
Hmm.
Really, really good. So shout out to this guy. I admire him a lot now. After, I mean, I loved him, but after hearing his story, I was like, oh wow. Um, you know, you would think that famous Christians that are in a good spot that make people laugh would be living a great life, and no, he even thought about suicide. And I mean, that's just really hard stuff. So shout out to him. Anyway, welcome to Bible Talk, fam. Let's do the intro real quick to make sure that we can jump into it, and then off we go. So let's go. Welcome everybody to Bible Talk. This is literally the only one. We are on season 2, episode number 32. We're in our series of God is Sufficient, going through the book of Colossians. We'll be on chapter 1 today. I am your host, Leader the Only One, at Leader the Only One on Facebook, Twitter, the TikToks, Instagram, and whatever else. I don't even know. With me today, the co-star of the show, Adrian Indolos. What's up, baby? How are you?
What's up? I am doing great. If you guys want to get a hold of me, you can go check out my website at adrianendelos.com. You can see it down below. I also have a public text line. You can text me at any time, 214-865-8348, whether you have a prayer request or you have a question about something we talked about in the show, or if you just want to ask me how about them Cowboys, feel free to text me at any time, 214-865-8348. And you can also catch me on the Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, all at Adrian_I. So it's ADREAN_I.
Welcome,
Back
baby.
to you.
The duel, my duel, the one and only John's family. How are you doing, John?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm
Where can
great.
people find you?
Twitch, apparently, at John's Fumbly. Instagram, John's Fumbly. Other than that, though, not really
Nothing.
anywhere. Yeah.
Anywhere but everywhere. The Discord, though, you
He's
don't
off the
know where
grid.
it's at. Discord's where it's at. That's where we're at all the time, playing games, talking to people, talking to one another. It was really cool. Me and John, the last time we played, it was cool to talk about. We talked briefly about some spiritual things, and that was really cool. I love how like the gaming space allows us to be able to spend time together, not only gaming but building each other up. So it was really cool. I enjoyed that our last conversation, John. So I appreciate you. It was cool to go through it. Anyway, welcome to the show, you guys. We are going to jump into the one and only eSword, which where is it? There you go. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. This is the app that we use in the show, fam. It's a great app. I like it. People like it a lot. I like it a lot. It's free for everybody. I have the pro version. I like to pay for it just because it's been part of my Christian journey for the last probably like I don't know 10 years. And what they do is you can download several versions of the Bible. Right now, open. I have the International Standard Version. That's the easier one for me to read. I don't think there's one better than the other. It's just English is my second language, and therefore this one works good for me. But I also got the basic English, American Standard Version, the King James Version. But most importantly, in this program, we have the King James Version Plus that includes the Strong's Dictionary. Strong's Dictionary is a dictionary that includes the original Greek and Hebrew and Aramese words that the Bible was written in. And it's really cool because we get access to see the actual meaning of some words, especially when they get lost in translation to the English, which is a very poor vocabulary oriented language, which is the same word for a lot of things. And the Greeks and the Hebrews, the Latin, so the world back then, they had a lot more going for them. So shout out to them. Download it. You can download it on your phone and your iPad. I take it everywhere with me. I take it to church. I do my notes there. It's just really, really great app. E-Sword. Amazing app. Okay, so I'll do a little bit of the recap here, you guys. We are on Colossians chapter 1. We were a few episodes in. We talk about the greeting, which is amazing. We talk about how being ambassador of Christ is really important. We talk about his grace. Then we talk about the amazing introduction to the Colossians, where Paul is admiring them, or not admiring them, giving them a shout out for being an amazing church and so many good things. but also he brought up things like, we're constantly praying for you, and also, how amazing God is through his glory, and how he gives us strength, and just reminding them of that, which is really, really cool. So really, really cool intro. We enjoyed seeing a lot of this parts into this intro, and there was kind of like a lot on this Thanksgiving and prayer area, and it was I enjoyed it. I think there's a lot in there. But the one thing that I just keep remembering is just the fact that the Church of Colossia, or whatever I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it, which is a church that Paul has never been to, is actually pretty strong in the Lord, and Epaphras is apparently doing a good job. So I guess a shout out to like a good pastor doing a good work. Having said that, though, Colossians is an amazing book where, even though you might be in a good position, right? I was thinking about that the other day. Let's say you know a lot of things, and you're strong in your relationship with God, and you think you're good. There's a bazillion new things that you can just learn and do. So I don't know, pretty cool. Okay. So anyway, all right, let's jump into it. John, do you want me to read today?
I think Adrian volunteered, but
Adrian?
I can if Adrian
Adrian
doesn't want
is
to.
voluntold. Let's go, Adrian.
Well, no, but
baby.
but John says he wants to do it. So
Hey, John,
It's up
it's
to
your
you,
call.
John.
It's your call, John. You don't have
I
to
can do
at
it. It's
all.
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
You
it's
sure?
not talking or anything in my voice. It's like moving real quick like that makes me real dizzy. So
well, then don't do that.
well, it's too late now. I just did it.
Okay, so we're just
16?
gonna read. We're gonna read verse 15 through verse 23, but we're gonna focus on the first 3-4 verses here. But we got to read this section because otherwise, context becomes a little tough. So, is that a lot? Is that okay with you?
Me. Okay.
Okay.
He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For by him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. And he is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in everything he might be preeminent. For in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether on earth or in heaven, making peace by the blood of his cross. And you, who once were alienated and hostile in mind, doing evil deeds, has now reconciled in his body of flesh by his death, in order to present you holy and blameless and above reproach before him. If indeed you continue in the faith, stable and steadfast, not shifting from the hope of the gospel that you heard, which has been proclaimed in all creation under heaven, and of which I, Paul, became a minister.
You gotta love the thanks for that, John. You gotta love. I love how. I think God guided Paul in a really good way to write all the Pauline letters. I think, and books. I think they're amazing. If you notice here, there's two things happening. Number one, he's describing God as a first thing, and then he's comparing it to us, and that's pretty rough. However, having said that, again, he's talking to a church that is well established, that is doing well. And just when you think that that's the case, then there's a good wake up call. And I like that. I think that the word is really good to do that, especially when paired up with the Holy Spirit in our lives. If we're proactively searching Him, it's quite good to live through that and have those experiences where it's like, hey, shoot, man, maybe I'm not okay doing this, or maybe I'm doing wrong here, or maybe I'm not following His will, or maybe I'm not fulfilling His path that He's got for me, or X, Y, and Z. There's several things. However, we're gonna focus today on Him, on what He is, and it's so funny. On the pre-show, we talk about time, right? For some reason, with the boys here, and I said, funny that you say that, right? That wait, was it on the show or the pre-show that I said that God is timeless, right? There's no time for God or something, right? There was a comment said.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how exactly the very first part of this description of Him, right? Look at it. The Son is the image of the invisible God. Now, really important, right? There's two things here. The Son, he's talking about Jesus, right? And let's highlight in purple. is the image of the invisible God, because we can't see God, but we could see Jesus, right? Who's the firstborn over all creation. Really, really important, right? It's really important to understand that God was there before anything and everything was created, right? For by him all things in heaven and earth were created, which we know about that based on Genesis 1. Things invisible and invisible, whether they are whatever they are, and all things were created through him and for him. And this is really, really important, right? For he himself existed before anything else did, and he hold all things together. So let's dissect that a little bit. Um, I don't know, boys. I feel like we live right now in a world where we favored logic, we favored physics, or the pursuit of truth, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But we tend to allow our brains to take over. And having said that, I do believe that skew a little bit our beliefs, our behavior, and our actions, to the point that it can influence our decisions, our friendships, our actions. Am I right here? Am I wrong? Is that the kind of vibe that we feel through our generation, the generation right below us, or what are your thoughts on that? And I have a follow up question, but I just kind of want to know how you guys feel about this. I'll start with you, Adrian.
Well, I definitely agree that I feel like in today's world there is more emphasis on what is visible, like what it's only what you can see is what's true. And I know for a fact that especially the next generation, right, in the
Mm-hmm.
Gen Zers, is that they are all about their truth, right? Like hashtag my truth, which is kind of a lie that they're telling themselves, and we can get into more detail about that, because there's an oxymoron in that sentence to saying like my truth,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. And so I do agree that there's just kind of a sense of um, being lost, and which kind of leads to a lot of confusion, which kind of leads to a lot of the problems that we're having with deunification and all this stuff. I feel like a lot of the
Yeah.
problems that we're having is just due to the fact that we just have no strong central identity,
Mm-hmm.
when you really boil down to it. So
I agree. I feel like you hit, I think, a huge word, and I think identity is it. I don't I don't believe that we live on a world that we have the power or the will to truly believe that we're created for him, and that because we don't have that, we tend to believe into what others may say that is outside of the box, that makes you feel comfortable in, that gives a little bit of cushion for your feelings and for your emotions. And when that's the case, it opens up this realm of ideas that are I think a little too skewed into believing in our flesh. And when we cross the line, then everything divine becomes irrational, I believe. And I think our world is going into that direction where it's really, really hard to believe in the spiritual, for instance, in God, in Jesus, in salvation, and so on and so forth. But I think identity, agent, is a key factor here. People just don't know who they are, and they're trying to find a place to be, a place to belong. And when they do, I feel like they think that they now know who they are just because they're surrounded by like-minded people. But that doesn't make you who you are. We've been through an identity series before and we know it better. But you're right, John. What are your thoughts on this?
On identity, I guess. I don't know. For a long time, I think humanity has been kind of working its way this way, no matter what, right? Because before modern times, I guess you could say, or before our generations, um, you didn't pick your identity. your identity was just what you were, right?
Mhm.
So like, I'm a steel worker, and I'm a man, I'm a husband, I have
Mhm.
5 kids, right? Like, you didn't decide, you didn't like do things just to add it to your identity, like a Pokemon game
You
almost,
were
right?
already where.
Right. Your circumstances dictated your identity,
Mhm.
right? And that's really no different now, right? So people's circumstances still dictate their identity in the sense that if someone's uncomfortable, right? Like middle schooler goes to school, they get bullied like every middle schooler, right? They don't feel, I don't, there, I guarantee you, not even one of you looked in the mirror when you were a child, middle schooler, or teenager, and were comfortable with who you saw looking back at you.
Yeah.
Okay. When I looked in the mirror, I was like, I despise the person that I'm looking at right now.
Mhm.
Okay. And what's happening is now everybody that's uncomfortable is thinking, well, I don't want to be uncomfortable, right? These circumstances suck. So I'm just going to change myself and these things so that I can feel comfort, right? But it doesn't ever
Mhm.
really make you comfortable, right? And so
Mhm.
your circumstances are still dictating your actions. You're
Mhm.
still, but it's people treat it as if like your identity is this thing that you have to like constantly be adding things to, right? Like my identity is that I own a picture with awesome boats on it, and I have a helmet and a terrible fencing sword and a gun off camera, right? Like that's my identity, but it's not. Like those are just things I have. I don't need to attribute that to my character or who I
Yeah.
am.
And so obviously the big I think the big elephant in the room would be I think it's gone to the point where we actually need to change even our physical attributes, um, our friendships, the place of work, the amount of hours spent working. I've been it's crazy, in TikTok just the other day, a guy posted a video, and I mean, I feel for the guy. I have nothing against the guy. It just really shocked me. The guy was crying, looked young, maybe in his 20s, working at Starbucks. And he was crying and said, "Hey guys, I feel terrible. This sucks. I'm slotted to work 8 hours today and to work 8 hours tomorrow. This is just not okay. People shouldn't live in these conditions and however way." And to me is a little bit of a shock. I come from Mexico where we don't have anything and you have to work your butt off, and it's and you're proud of it when you get something done. And to me to see something as like that nowadays, it really shook me a little bit. I was like, this got to be like a skid. And then I opened up the comments and millions of people supporting the guy, right? I feel you, this is terrible, this shouldn't happen, no one should do this, company should do this. And so when we allow our flesh, I feel like, to affect our behavior, then the culture itself changes. And I think that's what we're going through a massive cultural change, where it's okay to I don't know, to be transgender, to be lesbian, to be gay, to be a fury, to be a non-binary, to be whatever you want to be. And I feel like eventually it's going to get to the point probably where we are going to have to accept that culturally and live with that and be able to and have the politics surrounding it and stuff affected and approved it, right? And eventually will be normal. I think. I don't think it's inevitable. And the reason why I believe this is because this world doesn't belong to God. It belongs to the devil, and the devil is just, I think, superb. I mean, he's killing it right now. I feel like he's doing such a good job at making people believe that these are the answers to their problems, right? And in reality, the word is very clear. It's amazing to see that God exists outside of the realm of all these things, outside of what people say and what kings and lords and rules and powers, right, that they are. But most importantly, this one God is our creator, right? He's the one who made us, by the way, in his image, right? As stated in Genesis 1 and 2. And so I don't know. I feel like we stopped believing in him and his might and his power, and it's gone to the point where if we talk about this to someone that doesn't believe, they'll call us, we are the crazy people now, because we believe into this imaginary thing and into a not very logistic way of creation and evolution and whatever are the case, right? Darwinism theory and all that is being more accepted now because of culture and situations. But this, as stated by Paul, is no longer truth. And that's kind of scary, man, to me, because this is one of the core things about Christianity or the Bible or whatever you want, Catholicism, whatever, I don't care about religion. Oh, the Bible and the life in Christ, right? We believe that God is outside of these things. And that is really, really relevant because this doesn't follow any laws of science, any laws of physics, any laws of anything that a man who's got a limited brain on a limited flesh that is dying can ever come up with. And I don't know, man. Am I wrong? I feel like it's more of a miracle, right? It's really divine nature and spiritual nature. And for me, it's easier to believe in that than to believe in an accident. But I don't know. Am I wrong to think that way, guys? Or do you guys have a different opinion? Or how do you feel about that, Adrian?
I mean, so this is one of those things where if you look at, it's kind of funny that you kind of brought in all the Scientology, all the different schools of thought, that sort of thing, and how it might not really, people are kind of leaning towards logic and reason rather than truth and faith. And I think it's one of those things that, like, it's when you read the Bible, right, it's kind of just a repeat of things that we as God's chosen people, sadly, are kind of known to do. Like, I think, so we all have our own individual stories, and we all have our comings and goings. When it comes to our faith journey, and I know that there is a difference, like, between now and the Israelites, right? Because obviously, like, we have Jesus, we have that salvation already there, but I don't think that takes away from the human nature that's kind of embedded in the Bible, in our story of humanity, where we are loving God, praising God, things are good, and then like sin and temptation comes in, and then we're like, oh, like, well, we're who needs to worship the one and only God when we have the God of money, right? We have, right, the Israelites literally, after being saved from slavery, went and worshiped the golden bull, right? While Moses was up there, tweeting, into the cloud verse, about the Ten Commandments, right? And so it's one of those things. It's like, how are you literally saved watching a fire tornado come and destroy the Egyptians that are coming after you, and then not believe in God, right? Yeah. So you would think, like, as you're reading this, you're like, how do you even do that? And yet we look at our own world today and some of the things that are going around, and we're like, how, like, why, how does that even make sense? And so for me, I think, sadly, and also it kind of gives hope, because, like, it's sad to think that we're kind of in this period of, like, turmoil, and we're waiting for, I don't know, the next, for God to save us once again. I don't know. But again, like, there's also hope that, no matter what happens, like, we have that, like, we have hope in God and faith in God, that, no matter how bad we get, like, there is salvation. I'm sorry, like, we already have salvation, right? We just, at this time around, it's a little bit different because we have to choose it. It's already there for us. But like I said, human nature is kind of present, and you read the Bible, and it's kind of a repeat of what's going on, like, right now.
Yeah,
So.
crazy. Even though it's a 2,000-year-old book, I like how they spin on that, Adrian. I'm gonna ask you the same question, John. I want your thoughts, but first off, shout out to Travis. I'm glad you're here, baby. It's good to see you,
Woo!
Travis. Travis is our prayer warrior, and he's an amazing guy who just prays for people dearly with a lot of love. And shout out to you, Travis. We miss you, man. And he says, "Hey, family, if you need prayers, send us a message here or in Discord. We'd love to pray for you and your family. We have a great team that loves to pray." And he says that he misses us. So we also miss you, Travis, and we love you.
Heart you.
Hard to. John, I know that, I mean, shoot, man, we can probably even talk about briefly about, you probably follow, I know that you're very political like me a little bit, and you probably follow the elections that just happened. One thing that I was blown away is the participation of voting people between the age of 18 and 25, I think. It's probably the largest it's ever been. And obviously, most of that people, I think 70% or so, voted Democrat, right? So that indicates what the generation that we're, our generation and below our generation, kind of that how that culture is shifting quite a bit. Um, what are your thoughts on the impact of leaving God aside on the future generation, John? What that might do, and I don't know. Do you think, uh, what? Why do you think this is happening anyway? Like, I think it's pretty skewed now. I mean, it's pretty strong. So I don't know. I'd like to hear from you. You're always have really good. I like your conversations when it comes down to those things. Sometimes I was just curious.
I mean, so from a political perspective, everything in the U.S., both politically, even leftist ideologies, are all rooted in the old American Christian values, right? That's the
Mhm.
foundation of all of it, which is why Republicans have such a big issue with all this stuff, is that they're trying to get rid of the foundation that all of their beliefs are based on, right?
Mhm.
And so the objective of the leftists in this situation is to include everybody, just do whatever everybody wants, right? If someone else asks you to do something, just do it, right? And there's nothing wrong
Mhm.
with that. That's a very Christian perspective to have. But the problem is that they so they're trying to be good, right? They're trying to be
Mhm.
righteous, but they're doing it without God in it, right? And it kind of shows what happens when you try to be good through your own means, right?
Mhm.
So now, and there's Christians that do stuff very wrong, right? There's Christians that will use good for evil, right? Like, I'm not giving Christians or even the right side a way out in the situation, right? Because everybody's evil.
Mhm.
But you see what happens when people use righteousness and goodness to control others. You see what happens because they steamroll everybody else, right? I might have an unpopular opinion, right? But that doesn't mean that I should be steamrolled just because you don't like my opinion, right? And so that's what happens is people that they disagree with are abused verbally, right? And Christians have done this in the past, right? Like, everybody's
We're
guilty
any
of it,
different? Yeah.
right? But it shows that we're capable of evil without
Mhm.
God, and they're
Mhm.
capable of evil without God.
Mhm.
And the middle ground is that we need God. If God's not involved in your pursuit of righteousness and goodness, then it's self-serving and deceitful.
I can't believe you're so wise at such a young age.
No, that wasn't me at all. This is just stuff from God.
Hmm.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Wise and humble. Wise
Wise
and
and
humble.
humble.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I love.
Freaking help, man.
Yeah. I think you have a much easier time at loving everybody. Everybody, doesn't matter where they are, because you understand that what makes us whole is God in our life, and what makes us uh thrive away from Him is us not wanting Him. And so the issues are not really. I mean, sure, go for it.
So sorry. So like
Yeah.
when you look at humans, right, you see
Mhm.
this being that was created for the purpose of being good, right? It was to serve God, to worship God, and to exist in a state of perfection and righteousness, right?
Mhm.
Then you take that being, you take it out of that, put it in the complete opposite, right?
Mhm.
That being still wants to be in that, right? But now that being is self-serving. Now that being is tainted by sin, right? It's being used by the enemy to actively change the human race so that it can oppose God more effectively and be further away from God,
Mhm.
right? I don't think that we become more evil. I think the longer that we go in existence, the closer we get to whatever Satan's end goal for humanity is, which is the inability to accept Christ completely and totally, right?
Rejecting Christ, right?
Right. And well, and you see that though. You see that, like, because the next step is transhuman, right? So I'm not a human anymore,
Yep.
right? Like, and that's always been Satan's goal, is to make humans not humans,
Yep.
right? And so you can see it everywhere. It's all
It's already
Satan's.
happening.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that leftist people are actively trying to, like, I don't think all of them are actively trying to, like, kill God or attack him or whatever. I just think that they are being used.
Yeah.
So I didn't complete my thought, but whatever, it's fine.
I think that's a
Sick
great.
brain.
It's okay. I think it's a great train of thought. I think you're absolutely right. I think again, we're in a world that doesn't belong to us, and it's very easy for him to drive the world in his way. Especially lately, I feel like he's hit really the nail on the head with trying to fulfill people's uh, vacuum, right, or emptiness
Yes.
with fleshly, mortal, evil, somewhat, or what or the hiding evil, or the evil behind the hiding, right,
Hmm.
kind of stuff, and make them feel like they're whole. When in reality, we all know better.
Well, no one can cope with how evil they truly are, right? So I was reading
Yeah.
a book the other day that talked about Al Capone, right? So they asked him, they were like, "How would you describe yourself?" And he was like, "Deep down, I'm a good guy, right? I'm just misunderstood, right?" And every single person you ask in
Wow.
prison, like they went through a whole bunch of different people, right? And they would ask them like how they felt about themselves. Every single person, mass murderers would say, "Deep
Yeah,
down,
that's true.
I'm a good guy. I'm just misunderstood." Right? Like
Yeah.
I've been mistreated. My circumstances put me here, right?
Yeah, my
And that's
parents
the way
did this,
humans
my this. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the way humans are. We will do anything because we are so weak
Yeah.
that we will make up any lie to justify our sin. Because if we can lie to ourselves and say, "Hey, I'm acting in righteousness and goodness," then that maintains our weak psyche and it enables us to do what we want to do.
Wow. Well, there you guys have it. Well, Adrian, I know you're going to say something. Go
Sorry.
for it.
Well, I mean, no, you're fine. I was just going to piggyback off of that, but I know we've only really talked about one thing today. So
Well, I mean, that
I'm
was the
sorry.
whole goal. I mean, it's the thing is, okay, so hear me out, right? I mean, this is where I mean, I love this kind of things because Paul is doing, you know, what, 5 verses of a description of God. And I love how even something as simple applies so heavy for us in today's world, right? We can't really skip over a passage in the Bible because you never know how much God can tell you through this. And I think this is an excellent few Bible verses for our current situation. It's that simple. So it's not about how much we talk about, it's how much will we allow God to tell us through his word, right? And I feel like if we're what do you call it, where you're able to receive, or you're welcoming, I guess, God can really do some work in your heart. And I think something as simple as describing him is a big deal, at least to me. But it's okay. We don't have to go through a lot. He's enough for us already. But yeah, anyway, so I was going to say that I don't know. I think this is a good way to stop the episode. I believe Paul, I can see a little thread of how Paul is mingling this book into the Colossians to kind of go through it. It says, "Hi, greetings. You guys are amazing. We're praying for you. Let me remind you who created you. Let me remind you who your God is. And now that I've said that, let's work on the things that need to work on." And that's what we're gonna jump on next. And I think the whole rest of the book behaves that way. It's like, hey, you have scenario A, uh, lifehood with God. Scenario B, lifehood without God. Scenario A, how you used to be without God. Scenario B, how you are with God now. Scenario A, how do you behave before God? Scenario B, how do you should behaving now they have God? So it's gonna go a lot of back and forth like this, and I think it's one of the reasons why I really like Colossians personally, is because Paul does a terrific job. I go, oh, I remember. I mean, I was there. I feel like yesterday when this, and that was part of my life, and that was so wrong. And I'm like, shoot, well, no, I'm not doing half of this stuff that he says that we should be doing as Christians. So it's like a little bit of a tug of war, pull and push kind of thing. And I think it's good. So I think we're in for a treat as to God being amazing to us and telling us a lot. So I'm excited. Anyway, those are my final thoughts for this book. Do you guys have final thoughts today? I think we just was a lot more conversational, and I enjoyed it. A little bit different.
Yeah.
Cool. Done. John?
I'm just gonna read one verse and then
Shoot.
say something.
Yeah.
And you who were once alienated and hostile in mind, doing evil deeds, has now reconciled in his body of flesh by his death, in order to present you holy and blameless above reproach before him. And so I think what's important to remember is that as Christians, no matter what someone's political belief is, we have to share the gospel. That's our objective, not to share the gospel of politics, right? And if you're not a Christian, you're watching this, your life will never be full. Your life will never be satisfying, I guess, until you accept Christ. Now, it's not going to be easy accepting Christ. It's still going to be hard. It's still going to suck, right? That doesn't go away until you die. But don't kill yourself. But accepting Christ is the only way to truly understand good and rightness in the world, and understanding how to see good and rightness in the world. There's no way that you can go through life without God and truly have a good, like, it's like walking through something blind. God is the lamp, right? So I urge you to accept Christ into your heart, so that you can, if nothing else, at least go to heaven and walk this world and be able to tell the difference between good and evil.
And if you don't know how to do that, jump on Discord. We'll be right there. We'll help you. We'll guide you there. Adrian, any thoughts?
Yeah, so my final thoughts, just to kind of, we didn't really get a chance to talk about it, which I was surprised. But the word preeminence, right? The title of this section of this chapter, basically just means that the most ultimate, it is above all else. The word preeminence basically means like completely OP, right? So this is the OP-ness of Christ. And so I know we kind of went a little bit political today. So no matter if if your candidate won or your candidate lost, if you're not happy with the election results, like what John said, if you accept Christ, Christ is preeminent, above that superintendent. The Christ is preeminent above, the governor, the president, the political party, whatever issue, that you might be with. Like, Christ is above it all, and is, the thing that's kind of holding us all together. And so, like, if whatever, if you feel like either justice or injustice, happened yesterday and today, whatever, like, accepting Christ and allowing him to work through the world as he plans on it might actually be like a good option for you, because maybe the thing that you wanted to get fixed by a certain official can't be fixed, but maybe Christ can. And so that's just something to think about and to pray about, if you are in the faith. So
I'll tag along with that as my final thoughts, although even though I already did final thoughts, but just to say, a friendly reminder, guys, God puts and takes away people in authority. And our responsibility now, talking to Christians, because Adrian did a great job talking to non-Christians. I think it's great. Now, if I was going to tell Christians is, well, you might not be happy, but if you have a complaint, feel free to tell him upstairs. He's the one who decided who those people are. And good luck if you want to fight him. Last guy that fought him lost his walking ability. He was limping for the rest of his life. So I don't know.
Completely changed his name too.
Yeah, just pray for them. They need your prayers. And they need God in their lives. And so do I. So does Adrian. So does John. And so do you. We love you. We'll see you next Wednesday, God permitting. And thank you so much. And we'll see you on Discord. The
Bible Talk Wednesday.
This is Bible Talk. With your host, Leader the Only One.
Your first loser.
I am closer to be better, to be the best, okay? So cut me some slack.
John's fumbling.
Boba Fett. Attack mode?
Yep, I see that.
Attack mode?
Yep.
Attack mode?
Yep.
I'm in attack mode right now.
Adrian A.I. Indelos.
I'm a man. I fix things. Cook barbecue and fix things.
This is Bible Talk.